Hey folks, John Kelly. Welcome back to the Law Enforcement Life Coach Sometimes Heroes Need Help podcast. This podcast is being brought to you by On Target Claims, where their motto is on target from setback to settlement. Now listen, a little background. I've worked with these guys on the job, on the street for over 25 years, man, and they have always done the right thing and have always had my back. Now, in this second chapter, let them have your back, right? You wouldn't go to court without an attorney. Why would you go up against an insurance company without representation, right? They represent you, the policyholder, when you go up against an insurance company submitting a claim. And I can tell you this, right? From beginning to end, they're going to be with you during the entire process. They're going to properly document that claim with the latest technology. And then when it comes time to getting things fixed, they've got a complete stable of vendors that are certified that are going to get it done right the first time. They also offer a pre-loss planning and policy review. So you know exactly what you're covered for, right? Make sure that you're adequately covered. The time to find out that you're not isn't after that horrific event. Okay. So give my friends a call at On Target Claims, 561-208-1775, or go to their website, ontargetclaims.com. They cover the entire state of Florida, offices in Fort Lauderdale and Tampa, and tell them John sent you. And now let's get to the episode. Absolutely. Hey, folks, John Kelly. Welcome back to the Law Enforcement Life Coach Sometimes Heroes Need Help podcast. Sitting down with Mark DiBona. And let me tell you, so Mark's a Boston boy, and it doesn't take much for our brothers from the Northeast to find each other here in Florida. I think there's some sort of homing system for everybody from the Northeast eventually gets together, man. What an amazing career and life story. And we're sitting down with Mark. He's going to share some things from the past, from the present, and what he's got going on in the future. And so I'm going to shut up, man, and we're just going to jump into it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark DiBona. Mark, man, thanks for your time, brother.
John, my brother, I really appreciate that. And you're right. Us Bostonians, we definitely gravitate to each other. There's no question about that,
Some sort of laws of physics or something
Well,
that they
as soon
haven't figured out yet.
As soon as we say car, it's over. Yeah. So
I'm like, Braintree? Yeah. Greater Boston area. I go, oh, I'm going to get along great with this guy.
Well, we're wicked pisser, man.
Easy enough, man. It's so easy, bro. Yep. I've been following you and kind of in this space, right? And I love people that are out there giving back that don't have to, man. Like right. You're done, bro. You've done your time. Over 25 years, right? And nothing saying that you served.
It was good fun.
And there's something that says I'm not done. I'm not done. And that's what I love about this space, man, is that people that don't have to are still stepping up and trying to help people that are still in it. And so that I think, I don't want to put words in your mouth, brother, but that's what you're all about.
Right. I definitely want to give back through my triumphs, my good times and my bad times. Right. And hopefully, because you always, something like the saying goes to the effect that you learn from other people's mistakes.
Right.
Well, you also learn from other people's victories also. So the point in my life now is I want to give back. That's the bottom line, because when I get into my story, I'm not the only cop that ever felt like that. I'm not the only cop that went through that. But at the time, I thought I was.
Right.
And so I want to give back and just show my brothers and sisters, not just in law enforcement, all first responders or anybody else also, that when you're in a dark place, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There really is.
That's an excellent point. Like sometimes we get fixated on law enforcement, or the first responder community. As you pointed out, we're all part of a bigger community, man. We're all just humans. And you know what? It doesn't matter what you do for a line of work. Everybody's got shit, man. Everybody's got problems. Everybody goes through tough times. And if we can just make it not a big deal,
right,
to talk about it, then it can not be a big deal to get some help.
the most dirtiest word in mental health is the stigma,
Yeah.
because people are just petrified for several reasons. One, if I show that I need help, it's a weakness, or people will perceive it as a weakness.
Right.
Or what is my agency going to do to me? What are my friends? What are my coworkers? What are my families going to think if I say, hey, listen, I've had a bad couple of days, or a bad couple of weeks, or unfortunately a bad couple of years with a
Right.
community trauma. So we have to change that to show that we have each other's backs, and that there are resources out there that are non-judgmental. How to obtain those resources, but more so how to get yourself back on the path of getting better. Nobody's 100%. Everybody listening to us right now, including you and I, John, we're all dealing with issues,
Sure.
whether it's personal, professional, and or both. And usually it's probably both, would be my guess. Yeah,
Right.
like
Right.
somebody said to me, "Oh my God," I ran the other day. "Oh my God, you've been retired for 4.5 years now. You grew your hair out. You're all tatted up. Life must be awesome." It is awesome.
Right.
Absolutely. It's great. It's a true blessing. But I still have my struggles like anybody else does.
You know what, Mark? So I was speaking with Jason Schechterly, and he was burned alive in his patrol car. Right.
Yep. And I know who exactly you're talking
You know
about.
what I'm talking about,
Yep.
Jason.
Amazing
And
guy.
he's
Yep.
a good people, man. Just a solid dude, man. And after everything he's been through, he's like, I still have really horrible days. Like,
Yep.
just because you get through something doesn't mean that the bad or the difficulties go away, man.
Or it's over.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It's just life, man. Life is
Right.
going to
Right.
keep throwing stuff at you.
Right. Yeah. And it's not like, okay, that chapter of my life is closed, and I'm not
Yeah.
going to turn back, because
Right.
something simple as driving down the road and looking at something, that's you oh yeah, I remember something over there, or something will remind you of that. And obviously that's where the PTSD,
Sure.
PTSI comes in. But you're not 100% cured, because I have had several people say, I just want to be cured. Well, be careful using the word cured,
Yeah.
because
It's about being better.
exactly.
Being better.
Which is
What
achievable.
right.
Yeah.
Better,
Yep.
better today than I was yesterday. It's funny,
Amen.
right? So I'm in the gym yesterday, and my buddy had just called me and advised me that his dad passed away. And that triggered. I'm in the gym now, Mark.
Right.
Right. I saw his text. Hey, I just wanted to give you an update. His dad was in hospice. I didn't know his dad.
Mhm.
I didn't, I was, he was just letting me know because we had been communicating over a couple of days about everything that was going on. Right. I immediately start thinking about my mom,
Right.
who passed, and I'm in the gym and I'm not doing well, man. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Right. And it's
Sure.
just like, and so old John, I don't know what old John would have done, but I went up, my wife was working out. I go, hey, I go, give me a minute. I said, I need a hug. I'm having a tough time right now.
Right.
She stopped in the middle of the gym, Mark. She stopped what she was doing and she said, what's wrong, baby? I said, blah, I told her what she was like. And in that moment, she just gave me a hug. And for like 30 seconds, man, that allowed me to recalibrate,
That's
finish my
amazing. Yeah.
finish my workout. And it's just like, you don't know when it's gonna come.
Sure. Sure. And what happened was, John, it's pretty obvious. What happened, bro, was you were triggered for when you lost your mom, and I can relate to that because I lost my mom. And
Right.
so it was a trigger. Your wife had had your back. That's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And just to take that time, that 30 seconds, like you just said, to recoup, but more so if somebody was there that cares about you.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people are probably looking at you guys, what are you guys doing?
Right.
Get a room. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
I got
so,
fucking
yeah,
tears in my eyes,
right.
and but that's see, old John would have not never have I would have stuffed that down, man.
Sure.
And I said, you know what? Let me deal with this right now.
Yeah,
Let me deal
yeah,
with this right now. And maybe not the best example, but to your point, man, it's about being better.
absolutely it is. Yeah. And like I said a couple of seconds ago, it's definitely achievable to get better. There's no question about it. Now, I will say this. what may work for me may not work for you,
Right.
or vice versa. But there will be some type of similarity in there,
Right.
that where it's going the right way. Like I used to, it was a big mistake. I used to, when I was doing my presentations, I used to, when it got to the point of stress, I would say, how do you relieve stress? And I go around the room.
Yeah.
Some people have some off the wall things how they relieve stress.
Yeah, man. You
Yeah.
don't want to open up that conversation,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So we'll keep it as PG
Oh
13.
my God, that's hysterical, bro. Yeah,
And some of it, I said to myself, oh my God,
that's
wow,
hysterical. Yeah.
But then some of the stuff people said, where I kind of laughed, but I thought to myself, wow, hey, if that's working for them, good
Right.
for them. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's absolutely amazing.
That's great that you get into that space, man, and you have that dialogue with everybody. Hey, before we get too far ahead, man, let's go back a little bit if you don't mind, Mark.
Sure.
A little bit of your history, growing up on the job
Okay.
and some of your experiences, and then that'll probably walk us into what you're doing now, man.
Okay, sounds good. So I started my career in Braintree, Mass. I started off as a reserve special officer,
Okay.
on June 6th, 1985. So I remember it was like yesterday.
Wow.
And all my life I wanted to be a cop. I mean, ever since Adam 12 and the
Yeah, man.
Rookie, SWAT, all those old. We're showing our age here, but
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
all those cool, it's still cool shows.
Right, they are.
Also, amazing thing happened in 1985. I met my wife in 1985
Oh,
also.
kid.
Yeah, and we've been together now we've been married for 32 years. We've been together since 85. So we're pushing
Dude,
30
are you
years that we've
kidding
been
me,
together.
man?
And she has a
Now,
kid. Yeah.
did she,
Yeah.
wait, the dogs are losing their minds. If what I'm gonna do is I think my daughter's just home, so I'm gonna
Okay.
let them calm down for a second
Yep. Yep. No
because
problem.
I got 3 dogs, bro.
My
I
dogs
got
are upstairs. So
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So
so this is the thing. They're really good, but man, no, nobody's home. They're just losing their minds because no worries.
yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
continue.
I heard my
So,
dog bark earlier also.
yeah.
So yeah. Yeah.
So, you now did you meet her like in high school, bro, or
No, I married young. So so yeah. So yeah, she's so we met on a blind date. I thought that was amazing. And the funny, and you can relate to this, living in Massachusetts, we actually met in a train station. Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Nice.
The Quincy T. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. And it was funny because we went out on a date, and
Yeah.
then we met some friends of ours that introduced us, and we met up with them a little bit later during the date. And when I dropped her off that night, and she's a Weymouth girl, lives in
Okay, I was gonna say what neck of the woods is she
yeah,
from?
yeah,
Weymouth.
Weymouth,
All right.
and I'm Quincy. So, anyways, so I dropped her off and I got my buddy's car. And my buddy looked at me and goes, "So, what do you think?" And I go, "That's the girl I'm going to marry."
Dude, isn't that
Yeah,
awesome,
yeah,
man?
isn't it great? It's great, man. And I tell you, man, when I say blessed, it's blessed with a capital B, man.
Oh,
It
bro.
truly is. And she's been with me through my best of times and
Right.
my worst times.
That's
So
awesome,
she's
Mark.
been very supportive of me in my career, because as you know, cop work can put it really do a number on you.
It's tough for
And
it's
it
tough
is.
for it's
Yeah.
tough for you, but it's also 10 times harder on everybody else.
Sure, yeah. And then she's a registered nurse.
Oh,
So
wow.
obviously she can talk about trauma. There's no question
Sure,
about
man.
that,
She's been immersed in that. Yeah.
Right. So I stayed with the Braintree Police till 1988,
Okay.
and then I had an opportunity to go with the Amtrak Police.
Okay.
So when I first heard the Amtrak Police, I'm like, who are they? What do they do?
Yeah. What's that all about?
And so I did a couple of ride-alongs with them. And one guy that really inspired me at the Amtrak Police was a guy named Joe Davis. And
Okay.
it was funny, his nickname was the Mayor of South Station.
All right, man.
South Station in Boston. Joe's a great guy, really good guy. And so he helped me get hired because it's who
Right, of course.
obviously, And I was with the Amtrak Police. I was on their interdiction unit for a while. That was a lot of fun.
Dude, I bet.
Yeah. Made some really good arrests. A couple of kilos of cocaine here and there.
Yeah.
And then I was also a field training officer. And the reason why I say that field training is I love, and we talked about this off camera.
Yeah.
We love training. I love training. Training is just the greatest thing, Didn't like going to training sometimes. I'm not going to lie.
Right. No doubt.
But training's all about the instructor. Also, there's no question about that. So I was with Amtrak Police till 1992, then there was some budget cuts and some layoffs, and I was one of the budget cuts
Right.
and layoffs. So I said, "Oh my God, what do I do?" And I said, "My wife was still in college. She was at UMass,
All right.
and so I took a job working security, private detective, delivered pizzas, anything I
Dude.
could do to make ends
Dude,
meet."
I was a door-to-door home alarm salesman
Wow,
with the
wow,
with the big briefcase and all that,
right,
bro.
right, right,
No. So
right.
I feel your pain, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Not
man.
good.
You gotta do what you gotta do what's best for you and the
Yeah,
family.
man.
Yeah. So 1993, 92, 93, we moved to Florida. How we moved to Florida was a couple of buddies of mine. One has since passed away. He died in the line of duty. God rest his soul, Mark Wilbur. They went down, they went to Florida. They put themselves to the academy. They said,
Yeah.
"Hey, everybody's hiring. Florida is like pretty much like wide open for law enforcement." So I talked to her over my wife. She's like, "All right, let's give it a shot. We can always
Yeah,
move
man.
back." So I
There
went
could be
to
worse places to move, man.
there
There could
could
be
be. There
worse
could, yeah,
places to
yeah.
move.
Oh, there's no doubt on that. So I came down to Florida. I was lucky enough to go to the equivalency academy because I was already academy trained.
Okay, nice.
So that was good. That was in Polk County, and I'm working for Avon Park for a year.
Right.
Uh,
Smaller department.
Very small department, 20 cops. That's since it's folded up. Now the sheriff's office, Highlands County Sheriff's Office polices the city.
Okay.
And then we went to Seminole County Sheriff's Office, where I
Nice.
spent 25 years and 2 months there.
Nice.
For the most part, I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of dark sides of law enforcement. I'm sure we're going to be talking about that soon.
Yeah, man.
I was a patrol sergeant for 19 out of the 25 years, and I prided myself at being a cop's cop
Right.
and as a leader, not as a supervisor.
Sure.
And your people come first.
Right.
You know,
100%.
and people and family come first. And I loved being a sergeant, and I use this line all the time. I use a line that says, "I've worked for several supervisors, but very few leaders."
Right.
And
It's funny. Yeah, man.
yeah.
A lot of times people get that confused.
They do. They do. It was a good run. I was an FTO there also. I was in the traffic unit. I was in the DUI unit. Traffic was my thing. I really liked traffic. I made some great arrests off traffic
Yeah.
stops.
Traffic was my thing, but not for the reasons like motors, man. I love to ride.
Oh, I
So
can imagine, man. Yeah, I
so
never got on a bike.
I got on the bike. I didn't write tickets. I didn't do any. I'm gonna
Just
ride,
cruising.
man. And I was the
Okay.
boss. I could get away with it because I was the boss. You know, I was a sergeant.
Like that movie. It's good to be the king.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
All I did, I rode that bike everywhere,
Right.
man. So
Good for
yeah,
you, man.
I liked it. We did a lot of traffic operations where it came to aggressive driving and stuff like that.
Sure.
I mean, that was cool.
Yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyed all that, man.
Yep. Yep.
But I was an alcoholic, not then, but in
Uh-huh.
the past. So I didn't, in my whole career, I never arrested anyone for DUI.
Right.
I just like, I couldn't be, I would be a hypocrite if I did.
Right. And that's perfectly understandable. And that's where you set your boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool. So I said I was 19 years as a sergeant.
Wow.
Out of those 19 years, I was 3 years in a traffic unit as a sergeant, and the rest was a patrol sergeant.
Wow.
Loved
Nice.
working midnights, not a problem. I was on
Yeah.
nights of choice. I was a working sergeant. If the guys and girls are working, well, guess what? So am I.
Yeah, you're out there with
So,
them.
and I went out there, made arrests, wherever needed to be done.
Yeah.
And I
Nice.
pride myself on leading by example.
No, that's awesome, man.
But I
That's
was
awesome.
not. I was not one of the boys.
Yeah.
Why I was not one of the boys was because if you want the answer to the question, you're going to get it, whether you like it or not. And I'm a guy. It must be the Boston in us.
Yeah,
I'm a
man.
guy. I'll tell you like it is. Sometimes I probably could use a filter every once in a while.
Right.
But that's okay. But more so, I'm like, no, I'm not going to drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah,
No, I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear.
Right.
And I think out of that was I gained a lot of respect from the troops, and I know I did.
Sure.
But I also pissed off the command staff.
Oh, without a doubt, bro.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, and you know this, and everybody should hear listening to that's in the first responder world. You piss off the bosses, you're done. That's all they're going to remember was the time you pissed.
It's going to be a tough go, man. It's going to be a tough go of it.
So if you want to sell your soul and drink the Kool-Aid, then you'll probably be fine.
And there's plenty of people that do that.
Nah, not negative.
Yeah, man.
Not my thing. Just not my thing. During my career, also with the sheriff's office, I was in peer support for a while.
Nice.
CISM, curriculum and stress management.
Yeah.
I was in that for a while. but I think pretty much my whole career at the summer county sheriff's office was in uniform.
Okay.
And I'm okay with that. And I had a
Yeah.
lot of people, especially a lot of other sergeants, would talk down to me and say, hey, you want to be a sergeant for the rest of your life? Yeah, actually, I do.
Dude,
I
that's where I retired, man. The
right,
best
right.
job in the world.
Amen. And I never tested for lieutenant once. And because I knew what I wanted. At one time I had this dream, I'd like to be a captain someday. But some of the captains I talked to, they're like, dude, this is so overrated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I stayed in my lane.
Nice.
I knew what I wanted, and it was good. It for the most part, it was a good run, except for the dark side of it. But
Right.
And I say this all the time in organization, I accept full responsibility of my actions. When I ran my mouth, that was me talking.
Right.
Okay? Yeah. I wasn't trying to show off, or I wasn't trying to be I spoke from the heart, and sometimes probably not using my brain sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes that bites you in the ass.
It does. Especially working for a sheriff's office. It's very
man.
But I liked it. But then when I decided to retire, I went into drop, and if anybody's not familiar with drop, now you can go up to 8 years.
Yeah.
But the drop I was in was 5 years.
Right.
And I said, something, yeah, 5 years. The state's gonna give me all this money, and it's gonna be good. But I didn't like my job anymore, and I didn't like a lot of the people I was working with, unfortunately. Okay. So I decided one day, I said, something, I'm done. And it was really a mic drop retirement, and I retired on a Thursday, and I haven't looked back. Wow. I will tell you this, in every agency, and I've learned this from my own experiences, I've learned it from going around the country talking, is that you're only a number. That's all you are. You're here today, gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
And when I retired on the Thursday, the next day, Friday morning, I'm driving to the gym. What do I get behind? I get behind my cruiser. It's not even.
It didn't take
hours,
long,
man.
brother.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, that used to be my unit number.
Right. And I look, because obviously we had to take home cars.
Sure. Yeah, man.
So I'm looking at that, and I said to myself, my God. Yeah. So I pull up to a red light, and I looked over at the deputy. It was a deputy I didn't like. So that kind of pissed me off.
Yeah, he's got my car now.
Yeah, but I just went like that.
Yeah,
I'm done. Yeah,
Yeah, isn't it crazy, Mark? Like we it's so easy for you to start thinking that, listen, there are a lot of agencies out there that do a great job of fostering supportive environments and all that. But even with all that being said, your family's your family.
Amen. Yep.
And what happens is, man, is you start getting it twisted. You start thinking that work's family and work cares about you like family.
Right.
And it's been my experience that dynamic only takes place as long as you're in good standing and that you can continue to toe the line.
Yep.
The minute you get in trouble, the minute you get suspended without pay, with pay, the minute you get put under investigation, phone stops ringing.
Yep.
Nobody, people start distancing themselves.
Yep. Well, like, the old saying goes is, who your friends are when you're down.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And unfortunately, some people won't reach out to you because they're afraid.
Yeah.
What if so-and-so hears that I was talking to you? Who cares? You're only doing the right thing. I had towards the end of my career, probably the last year or two of my career, we had 3 deputies fired all at the same time. A lot of it was self-inflicted, no question about that. So one of them appealed their termination. The guy that appealed his termination, I went to his appeal. 1, because he's a friend of mine. 2, because he's a brother. 3, I enjoyed working with him. He was a great cop and he was a great sergeant. He really was. And I was asked by several people, why are you here? Well, first of all, it's an open forum. It's under the sunshine.
Why are you supporting him?
Yeah. Why are you supporting him? And then the other people on my shift, a couple of guys that was on my shift, they did not want to be there. They were stressed out because they have to pretty much testify against him.
Right.
And they were amped up about that. So I'm showing support for them also. But when when they asked me why I'm here, I go, I thought to myself, you got, and I gotta tell you, one guy who I thought was my friend
Right.
was like very nasty to me.
Yeah.
And that opened my eyes a lot also.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
know,
It's, listen, I don't need you to have my back when I'm 100% right.
exactly. I can do that
I,
on my own.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't need the support of
Yeah.
the agency. I
Yeah.
need you when I'm about 80% right.
Right. Right.
Right.
Right.
When I
Yeah.
had a good heart, but maybe I stepped out of bounds a little bit.
Yeah.
That's when I need the support, man.
Sure. Sure. And like I said earlier, with those three deputies, it was self-inflicted. Some of the stuff they said, some of the stuff they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe they're the first ones to admit it.
Right.
However, I think the termination was too harsh,
Yeah.
too harsh. Yeah, and I liked all three of the deputies.
Yeah.
And I thought also as a leader, I should support my people through good times and bad times.
Sure.
But just the vibe I got being in that room, and the coldness and the couple of FU looks.
Yeah.
And I was just like, there really is no brotherhood. Yeah, well,
No.
there is a brotherhood, but the reason why they call it the thin blue line, they call it the thin blue line for a reason, because it's thin.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, my God, wow, this is not how we should be treating our people.
See, this is the thing, Mark, that I have always found. Listen, I'm no saint. I've had my badge taken from me 3 times.
Yep. I've had mine taken from me.
Yeah.
Yep.
A bunch of times investigated by the FBI for civil rights, on and on and on, right?
Yep.
Everybody's got the story.
Yep.
We have a really bad habit of judging you solely on one incident, one failure.
Yep.
And we forget all the good that you've done
It goes
up
right out
until
the
that
window.
point.
Yeah.
It doesn't, it doesn't matter. And I think that, if you've got a character flaw issue where somebody goes out and does something intentionally that's either criminal or, you're gone. Goodbye.
Yep.
But
Yep.
if it's to the heat of the moment or a poor judgment thing, this potential there for redemption.
Sure there is.
All right.
And you can learn from your mistakes, but here's the deal.
You got, yeah.
And you should be learning from your mistakes.
Right.
But here's the deal: is just when you thrive on what you did in the past. Okay, you owned up to it. You got in trouble. You paid your penance. Okay,
Right.
Whether it was suspension, whether it was whatever it was,
Right.
You paid your penance. Now, granted, I understand that stays in your file. I get that. Okay.
Right.
And there's a thing called progressive discipline also. That being a
Sure.
But when you wake up that day or that night, whatever shift you're in, and your goal is to screw with your coworkers,
Yeah.
or to say, hey, I'm the sergeant and you will respect me. I trained a new sergeant, and I'll tell you, John, it literally floored me. She got in my cruiser, and I said, hey, congratulations, because I was an FTO for new sergeants.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, congratulations on being sergeant. And she was very arrogant. Her exact words were, "It was long overdue."
Okay. There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, these first 5 minutes that we've been together, already I don't like you.
Yeah. There you go.
So,
all right. This is gonna be great.
Right. We go into roll call, and she starts her roll call, and she points to her sergeant stripes, which is obviously 3 stripes, and she goes like this: "These demand respect."
Oh, geez.
Oh yeah, I mean
That's the beginning. That's the beginning of the end, right there, my friend.
Of course it is. Of course it is, and it was a major buzzkill, obviously.
Sure.
So long story short, during her sergeant tenure of 18 months, or maybe a little bit more than that, she had a total of like 7 people transfer off her shift. Well, there's got to be a reason why,
Right. Yeah.
So what did they do? They promoted her.
Well, that's the playbook, man.
Yeah.
That's the playbook.
Yeah. And I just said to myself, no.
Oh, holy smokes.
It's not me. It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, man. That's crazy. So you had a good run, man. You had mentioned a couple times about some of the dark times, man.
Right.
You know what, bro? Like I said before we started recording, I think unfortunately, man, the past is what brings us to where we're at, good, bad, or indifferent. And so, you're doing some amazing work right now. And a lot of that stems from the struggles and the dark times.
Sure. Yep. Yeah. And Yeah, and again, you learn from your mistakes. Now, my dark times, did I put myself in in those dark places? Yeah, I did, but I didn't need to be pushed into that dark place, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm going to tell you. So it goes back to 2008, and and it's been quite a while. A new boss came in,
Yep.
and he was a micromanager, a person that would demean you, talk down to you. Um, he was a major suck up. He sold his soul, the whole
Yeah.
nine. Everything I didn't believe in, he believed in. So
Oh
right there,
man.
you're right
Well,
there. Me
yeah,
and
it's
him are
going to
going
be
to
a
get
rough,
along. Yeah, yeah.
relationship.
Right. So right there, me and him, we're not going to get along. You can see that one coming. So he started with changing things. And okay, I mean, a lot of people aren't good with change, but if the wheel's not broken, you don't need to fix it
Right.
either.
Exactly.
Yeah, so he was big on like sucking up and all that stuff, but more so he would talk down to me, and that's obviously that's insulting.
Sure.
And he would say things like I golf and I drink with the sheriff, so I can say whatever I want. When I speak, I am the sheriff, and things like that. And I'm like, dude, what the hell is this crap? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of
So,
arrogance there.
so then he started attacking me on a personal level. And what I mean on a personal level, like he brought me into the office one time to talk to me about something. And as soon as I sit down in his office, he looks at me, "Where'd you park your car? Did you have lobster for lunch?" And I looked at him, I go, "What is wrong with you?" I go
Yeah.
like that to him. He goes, "Well," I said, "You from Boston?" And I say that for a reason. He goes, "No, but I have to get down to your level." Okay, okay, all right. It's gonna be one of those meetings.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I'm not a guy. I'm old school. I'm not gonna dime this guy out or anything like that.
No.
But it just after a while, it just started like when I say what's the word I'm trying to look for? It just built up, kept him
It's
beating.
just wearing on you, man.
Yeah, yeah, wearing. That's exactly right. Whatever I did wrong. If I wrote a report, he'd find something wrong about it. If I made a decision on the shift, he would find something wrong with it. And I used to make a joke. If I ran into a burning building, a bunch of school kids, and I saved them all, he would have found something wrong about that.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I
Yeah.
could see that
Yeah.
developing.
So that started really getting really grating on me. Really started getting on my nerves.
Right.
But he was a guy also, John, that would I call them keyboard tough guys. And I'm gonna give you an example. If me and you work together and I was your sergeant, all right, when I hand you your evaluation, you should not be surprised in your evaluation.
Right.
And we should have a sit down and talk about the evaluation, good and bad.
Right.
Now, not all bad has to be in an evaluation. If hey John, you got a complaint on the other day, blah blah. All right, it's done with. But if every day you get a complaint on you for the same thing, all right, obviously that has to be addressed.
Sure.
So I got my eval, and I was recommended to be demoted in my eval. But he said like on December 22nd, I talked to Mark about this. On December 23rd, we talked about that. We never talked about that stuff. So again, he hid behind the keyboard. He was afraid to have that difficult conversation.
Right.
Now, again, he was one of the boys. So that alarmed me. That really, truly alarmed me.
Right.
So I'm thinking to myself, I'm gonna go way back to my childhood when I say this is I was sexually abused when I was a kid.
Right.
And, it's a traumatic experiences. And when something bad happens to you in your childhood, you carry that with you through your whole life. You do. There's no way of turning that off. Now you can repress it.
Sure.
It may not necessarily go away, but it's kind of put in the closet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, throw it in the box for a little bit.
Sure, and seal it up and all that stuff.
Yeah, man.
Well, as we know, sexual abusers are bullies. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I started relating to, this lieutenant didn't sexually abuse me. Don't take that the wrong way.
No, but
I started seeing
it's a power dynamic.
Right. I started seeing some of my abuser's tendencies in him. And now it sounds kind of weird. And I started becoming rebellious. And I started, which is really strange, especially being a cop. I started having a problem with authority figures. Not so much people at my level, but more so people that had rank, that they'd like to screw with people.
Gotcha.
And that would really upset me. and I started developing nightmares of my sexual abuse.
Oh
Where
wow, it's all playing into it, man.
it is. It all comes together. So sometimes I was afraid to go to sleep. I would cry myself to sleep. I would just have things that would remind me of the abuse, but somehow or another, it all revolved around work and around that lieutenant.
That relationship with that lieutenant triggered all this past stuff.
Exactly. You're 100% right. So I started wearing, here's how the stress comes in. Some people stress, when they handle stress, they do different things. Some people turn to alcohol.
Yeah.
Some people turn to drugs. Some people turn to bad habits. One of my struggles was a two-part struggle. One of my struggles was eating. I would be a binge eater.
Okay.
I would eat every time I thought about something that would piss me off or I would struggle with, I would eat. And within 4 or 5 months, I gained about 45 pounds.
No shit. Okay.
Yeah, that fast. That fast. Of course, I was eating, McDonald's.
Yeah, you weren't eating
No.
chicken breasts and broccoli and rice.
No, absolutely not. No, I'm Italian. No, we're not.
No, man, you're loading it on. I love it.
Yeah. So I was eating like McDonald's, Burger King, Dairy Queen. Then I walked it down with a Diet Coke, thinking everything's fine.
Sure.
And I would go to those places because why? We're cops.
It's on the cuff.
Yeah, on the cuff. Exactly. Yeah. So I started not being happy with my appearance also. My physical appearance.
Yeah.
So I came home from work one time and my wife said, "Hey, listen, we need to talk." That's obviously not a good talk when your spouse says, "Hey, we
yeah, man, that's I've been on the receiving end of that. We got to talk conversation.
And it's like if you tell your spouse to calm down, that never works out for you.
No.
Never once.
Nope.
In my almost 40 years of my relationship with my wife, that's never worked out once.
No, not at all. Oh my goodness, that's
funny. So she started talking about my appearance and hey, you're gaining some weight, but more so she talked about how different I was. I kept the house dark all the time. Literally, the only light was the TV light. So as cliche as it sounds, I was in a dark place.
Yeah.
But she talked about also how I would snap at her. You raise my voice to her.
Sure.
And then I just said to myself, okay, and I used a line on her. I said, well, you don't get this. You're not a cop. You don't get this.
Right.
Well, that didn't work out too well for me, obviously, because like I said earlier, she's been a registered nurse for almost 30 years.
Sure, she's familiar with all that.
She spent a lot of time quite a bit of time in the emergency room, so she gets it. But I did not. I know she wasn't trying to hurt me. I know that.
Right.
But I let those words hurt me, if that makes any sense.
It does.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
So I got rebellious with her. Or like, okay, I don't want to spend any time with you. I'm gonna. Here's what it kind of takes a weird twist. So I wanted to work more, working overtime, working off-duty details, because I didn't want to be around the house because I felt that my wife didn't respect me, and I know she respects me 100%. There's no question. There's no question about that. So now if I want to recap for a second, my marriage is probably on the rocks.
Yeah, man.
My career is definitely on the rocks. There's no question about that. I started becoming a micromanager.
Well, and your physical health is taking a shit.
Absolutely. Aches and pains you never had before.
Right. Your mental health.
Your mental health. Yeah.
You're fighting a battle on all these different fronts, man.
Put on your bulletproof vest and now it's snug. Yeah. Those are all, and people make it, cops out. We like,
oh, we're brutal, bro.
Oh, we're brutal with each other, hey, you're fat.
Fat fuck.
Yeah.
Hey, you say that and you go, but what if the guy is really struggling?
Right.
That's not good.
Yeah. So it's all becoming cumulative. So
man.
I was sitting at a fire station one night. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning. I distanced myself from all my co-workers. I'd have roll call. Roll call would literally be 2 minutes. John, you're in sector 2. See you later. Yeah, not that you need anything, but that was never like me. What do you guys need? Let's talk about something going on. And so I was sitting at the fire station, and FT went out on a call. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning. Well, about maybe 10 minutes at the most, a car pulls in, slams on the brakes right in front of my cruiser. I'm like, holy shit, what's this? What's this?
Yeah.
And when we gets out, she hands me her 4-month-old baby. And she says, my baby's breathing. hear me out when I say that. I don't care how much of a badass you think you are. When you're holding a baby in your hands that's not breathing, that's 4 months old, that is
Yeah.
no shit moment.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
care,
that's not
I don't care what anybody says.
right. Yeah.
So I checked his pulse and definitely wasn't breathing. And so I was doing CPR. I got the baby back.
Right.
The heart rate, got a pulse. I said, "Oh my God, this is amazing,
Right.
amazing." Then I lost it.
Oh,
Right. So the FD gets there. They transport the baby. I go to the hospital. I'm in the hospital room with the emergency room with the baby. And the doctor pronounced the baby dead.
oof.
And I was holding the baby's hand because I had emotional attachment to this baby, obviously.
Yeah.
And I said to the doctor, and I said, "How does this happen?" And he said to me, he goes, and I remember this doctor because he was a really great guy. He said to me, he goes, "Are you a Christian, Mark?" I said, "No, I'm not." And I wasn't then. I am now,
Right.
but I wasn't then. I said, "No, doc, I'm not." He goes, "Well, there's a thing called the Book of Life. You're only on this earth for so long." Well, I looked at him, I go, "Doc, that's bullshit."
Right.
But now I'm pissed off at God also.
Right.
If I could back up 1 more second, John, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Also,
No, please.
one of my other coping skills was alcohol.
Okay.
I would have a couple of drinks when I got home from work, which was not unusual.
Right.
5:30 in the morning is like 5:30 in the afternoon.
Sure. Understood.
But it was leading to one drink, to another drink, to another drink. And I'm like, okay, well, I like my beer. I like my tequila. Yeah, I like the taste of it. It's nice and smooth and all that stuff. But then it got to the point where I had a couple of drinks before work, which
Right.
obviously is unhealthy.
No,
Yeah.
not good. Not good.
Yeah. Then it got to the point where I had a bottle of tequila in my equipment bag on my front seat, and
Yeah.
I would drink while I was at work. But I didn't understand. I understood why I was doing it because I was self-medicating myself.
Right.
And I'll tell you, when I was pissed off, that tequila going down your throat, that's like liquid gold, man.
Yeah, man.
But it's not healthy.
No.
And you know that firsthand.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I'm laughing because I'm passed out over the steering wheel of my marked unit in full uniform, trying to back out of the driveway to go to work.
How scary is that, man? Yeah, yeah.
Doesn't
But
even make sense, man.
yeah, but again, it's lessons learned.
Right, right, right.
So one night I stopped doing traffic stops. I stopped going on calls, all that stuff.
Right.
But one night I'm driving down the road, and this car cuts me off. So I pull it over. It was a young girl. She's like in her 20s. So I get her out. She's visibly DUI, no question about that. Visibly impaired. And I made a lot of DUI arrests in my career.
Okay.
So I started doing field sobriety with her, and I held up my pen for the horizontal gaze.
Nice nystagmus. Yep.
Yeah. And as I was talking, I go, "Ma'am, as I'm talking to you, I can smell an odor of an alcohol type beverage coming from your purse in your mouth area." She looked me dead in the eye. She goes, "No, that's you." Yeah. I said, so obviously she didn't go to jail. Yeah,
dude.
But you would think
that's you.
That's and I'll tell you, John, that scared me. That really, really, truly scared me because I said to myself, "Oh my God, if they catch me,
yeah, no, you're done.
No, I'm gonna be arrested." But in a way, this is gonna sound really weird when I say this. In a way, I wanted to be caught. Because again, I was not accepting responsibilities of my actions.
You want the madness to stop.
Right. One way or another.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And it's easier to be caught than it is to accept responsibility.
How about that? That goes with a lot of things.
Sad. So then I started developing nightmares of the baby. Yeah, man. To the point where I'd lay on the floor, not in my bed. I would lay on the floor sometimes in the fetal position and cry myself to sleep. But I didn't want to go to sleep because I was afraid. I was afraid of those nightmares.
Dude, you got a lot going on, brother, man.
So I was telling one of my coworkers that who's in the military. He said, "Well, you probably got PTSD." I was never in the military. Are you kidding me? Yeah. What is that crap? No. So I went home and I Googled it. I like, holy shit. Check.
Yeah, these are the things, man. Yeah, all that trauma.
Right, but still, it didn't still hit me, which was really weird. So I came time to peel my evaluation. It got continued. Work started going downhill even more. And then one night I'm sitting in an industrial park, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks, man. Like somebody literally just took a baseball bat and hit me with it.
Right.
And I started getting suicide thoughts.
Sure.
And never, ever in my, I really, really hate to say this when I say that, but when I used to go to suicides, I'm like, and I would read the note going, really, dude?
You're like, what an asshole.
Right. Look what you're doing.
Why would you do this?
Why would you do that? You're a coward.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
and I beat myself up when I say this all the time, but I
Right.
really hate the way I used to think. Obviously now it's a lot different.
All right. Well, you don't know what you don't know, man.
Right. So I wrote the suicide note, and on the front page was to the agency. You know, everything was MF, this, that, and the
Yeah.
other thing, on and on and on. On the backside page was to my wife and to my mom. I'm a coward. You know, this is why I'm doing this. You don't get this. You don't understand. On and on and on. And the two most amazing people that I ever met in my life is my mom and my wife.
Yeah.
You know, two people
Yeah.
that were, you know, just truly amazing people. Are amazing people. My mom's
Yeah.
passed away, but
Yeah, man.
so I hung the suicide note on my rearview mirror of my cruiser. I picked up my phone. This gets a little strange. I picked up my phone and I called dispatch, and the dispatcher that answered, I knew her.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, it's, you know, it's, and I said this too. I said, hey, it's Sergeant DiBona. I would never say that. I would say, hey, it's Mark.
Right.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
because I was proud of my rank, but it didn't identify me.
Sure.
If that makes any sense.
It does.
So she goes, hey, Sarge, how you doing? And usually right there, I said, you can call me Mark. You know,
Yeah.
I said, hey, I'm doing all right. I said, who's the homicide detective for District 2 tonight? And she goes, Jennifer Spears, the one who I just talked
Jen.
about. Yeah, Jennifer. Yeah. So who you're going to meet? You know,
Yeah.
So I said, okay, thank you. She's, do you need anything? I said, no, I'm good. She said again, do you need anything? I said, no, I'm good. She's, well, why do you need that? Why do you need to know that? I said, well, in case something happens. So she goes, I'm going on my break in about 2 hours. You want to meet for coffee? I go, no, I'm good. And I hung up on her. So so I'm staring at the note and I'm going, now hit me out when I say this to you, John, and I'm sure you probably heard this before. Most cops that die by suicide, okay, they die in their uniform, and they also die in their cruiser or their station. Okay, now the answer to the question is that why? This is only my answer. I could be 100% wrong. I believe, look what you did to me.
Oh, it's a fuck you to the agency
with a capital F, and you don't have to buy a vowel. So right there, I'm like, oh, I got this. I'm gonna go. And so I put the gun in my mouth. I said a prayer, felt that the prayer was not answered. And that's because my being pissed off at God.
Yeah.
And I started squeezing the trigger. But when I started squeezing the trigger, I could, even though I had my eyes closed, I could see headlights come in. There was another deputy. Deputy pulls up, he rolls down his window, he goes, Sarge, exact words to Sarge, what the fuck are you doing? And I look at him, I go, what are you talking about? The guy's name is Craig McGee, amazing guy. He goes, we've been calling you on the radio. We your cell phone, we've been calling you, this is before GPS. We have the helicopter up. There's a bolo, be on the lookout for you. I'm like, wow. Now, John, when I say this, I was parked in an industrial park, way off the road, backed into between, like where trucks back into.
Right. No, you were where we normally go when we don't want to be found.
How the hell did he find me? I have no idea. It wasn't even his zone.
Right.
So I said, Craig, I'm here to kill myself. So obviously we talked for a while. He calmed me down. He talked me down. Some people say it's a good idea. Some people say it was a bad idea. He says, obviously you got to get help. Yeah. And I said, no, I'm not going to get help. Why am I not going to get help? The agency's going to do me. Right. They're going to fire me. They're going to make an example of me. They're going to embarrass me, or whatever. Now, would have done that or not? I don't know. It's a 50-50, to be honest with you.
Right.
So I went home that morning. I went home early, and I Googled, police mental health, all that stuff. Well, I found the Boston Police Stress Unit. That came up in the Google. So I went on their website and I read it. I went home early that night, and so I read it, and it was saying that we're here to help our brothers. We're here to help our sisters. It doesn't matter if you're a Boston cop, if you're a cop in New Hampshire, wherever. We're here to help you. And I said, all right, I'll call them. So I called them. The guy answered the phone like on the second ring.
Yeah.
He goes, so we're small talking, and I'm saying things like, "Hey, I don't want you to think I'm crazy. I'm not really suicidal. I just want to get some information for a friend."
Right. Yeah, man. For a friend.
For that, like the old saying, "I got a friend."
Yeah, of course.
So he said, "Well, I would like you,
Yeah.
you to come
Thank
up to
you. Yeah,
Boston."
man.
Yeah,
Cut through the bullshit. Yeah,
right,
man.
right. So I went to Boston. Why did I go to Boston? Because I wanted to get away from Florida.
Yeah,
I
man.
didn't want anybody to know in Florida. I made this bullshit story up that I emailed one of the patrol captains. I made this bullshit story up that my mother was sick and I need to go see her. It's an
Right.
emergency. I left a note for my wife, and I left. While I was up there, I became non-compliant to the point where, and when I say non-compliant, is this: I was whatever they wanted me to do, I did the exact opposite. They were amazing people at that Boston Police Station. Oh, truly, truly amazing people. It got to the point where I was handcuffed. I was put in the back of a cruise and I was driven to a hospital.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, I imagine it does.
It does. It got to the point where while I was waiting to go into the hospital, the cop that brought me there, and I'm not talking bad about the cop, but he didn't get it. No. He's a young guy. There was no empathy and compassion in our talk. It was like, oh, this is bullshit. Toughen up, have a drink, whatever, play Xbox, whatever, So I moved away from him and he put me on the floor. He took that as a threat.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I'm a cop.
Yeah, it's always nice to get dumped on your head by another cop.
Yeah. Well, it got to the point when they brought me in, on my shot said non-compliant, combative, all that. Well, they ended up putting me in a bed on 4-point restraints.
Of course they do.
Right, with a catheter, and that was no fun either. Yeah,
no.
So, and
holy
I
smokes,
lay in there. I couldn't even scratch my nose. I was laying there and laying in a gown, and I said, my life is over. Just come on, somebody come here and shoot me. In the head.
You thought you thought the parking lot with the gun in your mouth was bad. Now this is you're really struggling.
And also, when I was home, when I was Googling all that stuff, I had the gun on my table. And I put the gun back in my mouth also while I was at home.
Yeah.
So to speed up, John. So I went through the program.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you, John. When I say this, I lied my way through the program.
Okay.
I wanted to get the hell out of there. I just wanted to go back home. I wanted to see my wife, hoping she would take me.
Man.
And so I came back home, full transparency, to my job. This is what happened. And what they do, the exact opposite of what I thought they were going to do. I thought they were going to say, okay, bro, we got your back. Here's your hug. We're going to get you through this. It was the exact opposite of that. And that really hurt. That really, 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 I struggle with that. I really,
I bet.
Yeah, because it's like this. An officer goes on a traffic stop, okay? Gets on the rail, says, start another unit. What do? You start heading that way, okay? All of a sudden he gets on the rail, step it up. What do we do now? Now it's lights and siren. Over curbs, balls to the wall, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
We take care of it, okay? But when an officer says on a mental health level, I need help. Whoa, wait a minute here. What normally happens, and I'm sure you saw this in your career, John, when an officer says, I need to get help, give me your badge. Give me your gun.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of agencies still treat that individual as a liability.
Right. You nailed it. You 100% nailed it when you said liability. So when other officers see that, well, I'm not going to go to my agency for help because I don't want that to happen to me.
Right.
That's where people like you and I, John, as advocates for mental health wellness, we have to get that to show these officers, you're not alone. We got your back, So I worked another 11 years. I'm diagnosed with PTSD, depression, anxiety, compassion fatigue, eating disorder. I call myself sleep apnea. I call myself the whole package.
Man. No, you got all the boxes checked, bro.
But exactly. But my wife said one thing to me that I never forget. She said this. I have your back, which I know she did.
Right.
We're going to get through this, but I'm not going to baby you.
Right.
Now, first I was like, what the hell's that shit? You're not going to baby me. You're not going to hug me? No, that's not what I mean. I'm not going to say to you, oh, poor you.
Right, yeah.
This is how you need to do things. And she got me through it. I started seeing a therapist. Her name is Jamie Bridges. She's a retired Orlando cop that got screwed over by her department. Shocking. And she's taken me from ground level up to the top.
That's amazing, man.
It is. She's such an amazing person. Where we connected was the cop thing. That's where we can connect. Now we connected also on a personal level too.
Sure.
I was in therapy 3 days a week at one time.
Right.
Now I go every other month, and she calls it the maintenance plan.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm still on my medication because it helps.
Right.
You know, maybe someday I'll be off it, maybe someday I won't. I don't know, but I'm good with either one.
Yeah.
But I'm not dependent on my medication, if that makes any sense.
No, and you know what? Again, it's you taking ownership and taking
Right.
responsibility for being part of your own solution with the help of
Yep.
people that's what their goal is. That's what their passion is, to get
Right.
you better.
I was at a training meeting, and this guy comes in, he starts talking about police mental health and this, that, the other thing. And I'm sure you work with him, John. This is a guy that never spent a day on the road.
Yeah.
He's a political hack. And he's in there talking about, you know, being in a dark place, and I'm sitting there, and it's enraging me, man. It's enraging me.
Yeah, I bet.
And so I got up and told him what I thought of him and what I thought.
Yeah.
Obviously, that worked out really well for me.
No, I know. Geez.
It led to
Yes.
discipline. So I bring that up for a reason. So I said to myself, you know, I'm not the only cop that's ever done this. I'm not the
Right.
only cop that's ever gone through this. But I want to give back. I want to show my brothers and sisters, active or retired, that listen, you're not alone. So I started. I joined an organization way back when, called Badge of Life.
Okay.
Met this guy Ron Clark, who was now in my organization now, or our organization now.
Protecting the Guardian.
Yep. He is. But here's the problem, John. I was still in a dark place when I did my presentations.
Yeah.
I would speak angry. I would say, this agency effing did me wrong, and here's why they effing did me wrong, and blah, blah, blah. And I spoke angry. And so my wife was at a presentation with me. We're driving home. I go, how did I do? She goes, you sucked.
Oh.
I go, what? You're my number one fan.
Yeah.
And she goes, you're speaking angry. Use your personality. You're a funny guy. You're a likable guy. Bring some humor into it. But change it up a little bit. And so I changed it up a little bit, and now that actually worked out, you know, obviously to my benefit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So I again, I worked 11 years. There was some ups and downs. I went on suspension one time. Was recommended to be terminated. That was a tough time in my life. But the reason why I say that is something bad comes out of something good. On a faith-based, like my t-shirt, my faith-based level is during that time I became a Christian.
So I'm going to correct you. So something good came out of something bad.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I said that,
bro. Listen.
Yeah.
I know you're from Boston, man, and I know you got hit in the head a couple times.
Yeah,
man,
so, I did. Yeah, I did. And I grew up in a tough neighborhood too.
There was some good things that came from this really horrible situation.
The day I became a Christian, my wife became a Christian also at the same time. So now I look at things a lot differently when it comes to that also. I'm very proud of saying I'm a Christian. A lot of times I don't talk like one, but it's changed my life. So I said to say this, there are things in life that you can change you into. Now, if you notice, John, I've said probably 4 or 5 times, I accept all responsibilities of my actions.
Right.
Here's where it hits home for me. My picture right back here, you probably can't see it too well, is the band Boston.
Of course.
It's my favorite band ever. Not because I'm from Boston, it's my favorite band ever. The lead singer of Boston is a gentleman named Brad Delp. I'm going to get to him with 1 second. My favorite song in the whole wide world. Now, this is what I call motivation. My favorite song in the whole wide world is More Than a Feeling. It's just love that song.
Yep.
Well, Brad Delp died by suicide.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
No.
In his suicide note, he wrote, I accept all responsibility of my actions. So a memorial to Brad in a spiritual way. Every time I say that, I'm giving a shout out to him.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you know, and I believe he's one of my guardian angels. I truly. Some people say, "Oh, that's crazy" or whatever. You know.
No, bro. It's
so I decided when I decided to end my career I said I want to end my career for several reasons. One, I don't like being a cop anymore.
Right.
I loved being a cop. Oh my God, I truly, I couldn't wait to get to work. You remember when you first started, somebody drove through
Oh
your
yeah,
zone?
I mean, you know, getting paid was an afterthought. You
Right, right.
just
They
love
actually
the
pay us for
job.
this? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But remember, somebody would never drive through your zone with a headlight out, a tag light out, or whatever. You were going after them. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
What's in that car? I gotta make an arrest.
Right,
Well, through the years you mellow out, and
of course.
that stuff. But the job, I liked being a cop, but it wasn't where I wanted to be in my life. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no,
You know,
everything,
you know,
dude.
I,
Things change.
they do. So I went into drop and I said, "Oh my God, 5 years." I lasted 2 months, and I said, "You know something? I'm tapping out. I'm
I'm
done."
done.
I talked over my wife. She's that's fine, and it's been nothing but a blessing since. It really has. Do I miss the job? Yeah, yeah, I really do. But not in this day and age. I don't miss that.
No, and I would argue, Mark, that the work you're doing now and bringing some focus and light to the importance of mental health and wellness in the first responder community
Amen.
and how we support each other, that's really what your calling is.
Right. So we yeah so I left Badger Life, went to another organization. I don't want to mention that organization's name.
You don't
That
need to.
organization's got issues. It's got internal issues.
Sure.
And I felt like I was back at work, John.
Ah, that's no good. That's no
And I
good.
said, not in this pace that I'm in my life right now.
Yeah.
I do not need this one bit.
Right.
So four of us all resigned on the same day. And all four of us, Nick, Therese, Ron, and myself, Ron, who I mentioned earlier, we started protecting the Guardian.
Nice.
We just started with like nice grassroots. We just started right from the bottom. We're not the it was only there's only five of us in the organization, including my wife's a member of the organization also. There's only five of us. What we can provide is go into training events, go into conferences, go into departments, and talk about mental health, wellness, suicide prevention, the family aspect of law enforcement. Family comes first.
Yeah, man.
Talk about faith a little bit, and but more so to talk about how to get through your career with a sound mind and a sound body also, because
Yeah.
where you put your body affects you also.
Sure. Absolutely.
Now I don't do that part because I like my pizza, I like my beer.
I got you.
So I don't cover that part.
Yeah, man. That makes sense.
I still like my donuts.
Yeah,
you know,
man.
and,
That's funny.
But and then so we go around the country. I do predominantly I do most of the speaking. And I'm
Sure.
not patting myself on the back for that.
No,
because
that's
I have the time to do that.
that's the role too, man. That's what you're
Right,
comfortable
right.
doing. You do a
Yeah,
great
and
job
the
at it.
Lord gave me the gift of gab, so that helps. Yeah,
That's awesome.
and I don't get stage fright or anything like
No.
that, But and I believe in this and we all believe in protecting by sharing our testimony, because every member of our organization has a testimony of something that happened in their lives.
Sure.
I'll give you one of the examples. Therese, who's a registered nurse, her dad died by suicide, who was on the job, and I worked with him. He was you talk about a cop, John.
Good people, huh?
That's that like we say
Yeah.
in Boston, he's a good shit.
Yeah, man.
God bless him, God rest his soul. So
Uh-huh.
Therese talks about the survivor end of suicide.
Oh wow, yeah. It's
Yeah.
often
So I truly
overlooked.
believe people learn from seeing things, that people are visual learners,
Yep.
but more so they learn from hearing about it.
Oh, absolutely.
And I truly believe this. Like I taught at the police academy also. One time they came up to me and said, "Hey, can you do a block on burglary investigation?" I never investigated burglary once in my career. Went to 1,001 burglary calls,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
investigating one. I said, no, I don't feel comfortable doing that. Anybody can do that, but I've never done it. Why am I go in front of a group of people and bullshit my way through it? But I can go in front of a group of people now or one-on-one and say, yeah, bro, I get what you're feeling.
Like this is how, yeah, man, it's important work.
Yeah.
It's important work.
It's been life-changing. And also, if I could touch on one thing also is,
please, man.
Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. And here's what I mean by that. I bought a guitar 2 years ago. I now have 4 guitars.
Okay.
And I bought a keyboard. And it's a work in progress. It really is. But sitting there with the guitar and just strumming it and listening to it. Now, here's where the stress comes in. You hit that wrong chord and you're pissed.
Yeah. You're like, damn,
like,
didn't sound too good.
Why did that happen?
Right.
But I completely stepped out because I just, but all my life I wanted to play the guitar, but I never did. So at the age of 57, I said, you know something? I'm going to buy a guitar. And that really puts me in my comfort zone.
Right.
So again, don't be afraid to step out, just to step out of your box. There's got to be every person listening to us right now has something in their life that they've always wanted to do, but they've never done it. But they make excuses on why they don't do it. Does that make sense?
It does. Time to throw those excuses away and start taking some action.
Right, right. And as much as I dwell on the past when I do my presentations, because more so because I have to, because I want to share my story.
Right.
But I don't dwell in it all the time, if that makes any sense. Like somebody said to me one time, right after a presentation, this girl came up to me and said, "I'm going to give you a hug. You know, I'm a hugger by nature." So I'm like, "Yeah, of course."
Yeah.
And she goes, "How do you do it?" And I go, "How do you stand up? You just told us your darkest secrets of your life." I said, "I do it for you."
Right.
And I do it for everybody that was in this room. But she goes, "Do you struggle?" Now, there is sometimes I go back to my hotel room and I'm going, "Oh my God, wow." Yeah, you know, and I have to decompress.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But that's you know, so that's me, man. That's my life. I you know, and every day is a Saturday. Yeah, you know, so it's good. You know.
That's all. Hey, Mark, if people want to get in touch with you, if people want to find out more about protecting the guardian, if people want to bring you to their agency and have you talk to their folks, man, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Well, first of all, I'd be a complete honor to do that. And I'm going to say this also. In our organization, we are a nonprofit, so we are not going to nickel and dime and say, "Oh, you know," like I talk to some speakers and they say, "I only drink Evian water. This is my Costco water."
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So we're not into the reason why I say that, we're not into the glam and glitter. That's not what we're in. We want to help. So the answer to your question is, we have a website, protectingtheguardian.com. We have a Facebook page. We also have a LinkedIn page where we met, John.
Absolutely.
You know? Or was it on Tinder? Did we meet on Tinder or did we?
It was one of those dark websites, I believe.
Oh, Plenty of Fish or something like that. Yeah. Boy, that took a turn.
Man. Oh my God.
But that's how you get a hold of us.
And I'll put all that information
if you would
in the show notes so everybody can have that.
And my personal email address is mark@protectingtheguardian.com. We prefer you to go to our website and connect us through there, because my friend Ron, he's the contact person for Protecting the Guardian. Perfect. And he does a good job, getting things together and talking with people and all that. And that's what he likes to do. So, and I will say this also, we don't have a 1-800 number.
Right.
Where if somebody it was 3 o'clock in the morning, they're struggling to get help. However, on our Facebook page, we do have a list of resources.
Yeah,
absolutely. We have a lot of resources there.
988.
And never be ashamed or embarrassed to seek help. You know, and sometimes it's simple as a phone call. All right, I'm feeling bad. Sometimes it's long term. Sometimes it's short. You know,
most important part of it is reaching out.
Right. And again, shame should not be a part of that. Embarrassment should not be a part of that.
You should be embarrassed if you don't reach out.
Exactly. But I will say this. Shame on the agencies who don't protect their people.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's one going to piss off a few people. All right. Shame. Now some of it is lack of education.
Right.
I'll give you that. Yep. That's where you come in. That's where I come in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? That's where we educate. Okay. We educate the uneducated. Now I'm not talking demeaning when I say that.
No.
Okay. But it's easier to get rid of a cop than it is to keep a cop. Okay. But instead of throwing it, because I've seen through my career where a lot of good cops have been thrown out, for lack of a better word. Okay. Shame on the agents of doing that. Let's help. Let's help people. You know, when we went to work, John, we had a bulletproof vest on, we had a taser, we had a gun, all that crap to protect us physically. What did we carry in our toolbox or our tool belts or a Batman belt to help protect us mentally? Nothing.
No, nothing.
All we had is choir practice. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay. And that's the whole idea is now to empower people, to give them tools so they can mentally protect themselves. Right.
Yeah. And so if anybody's listening right now, well, I'm sure somebody's listening. Let me take that back. If anybody's listening that's having struggled right now, feel free to reach out to me. I'm sure I can say this for you, John. Feel free to reach out to you.
Absolutely.
And we'll get you through this. We really will.
Yeah.
We're not mental health professionals. We're just two guys that went through some tough times.
We'll jump down in the hole with you.
Yep.
And we'll help you figure out how the hell we get out.
Right. Troops first. Bring a buddy. Yeah, buddy checks, whatever you want to call them. But
Absolutely.
it's just such a shame. Like, I don't know if you heard about this, not John. 3 months ago, LA County Sheriff's Office lost 4 people to
Yeah, man.
suicide in 2
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
2 days, man.
Crazy.
That's heartbreaking. There's got to be something going on there.
Yeah, we're excellent at reacting,
Right.
not so much at preventing and doing things on the front end.
Right.
And
I said this one time, and I said this at a SWAT conference. I pissed off like the whole SWAT people in there. SWAT's a hard sell, man.
yeah, man, no, a bunch of alphas, bunch of pipe hitters.
Yeah. I love the SWAT people. They do something I'm not capable of. Well, that's not capable of doing, but they're trained to do that.
Absolutely.
So I said, something. An agency will go out and buy this $100,000 Bearcat, this SWAT tank, and on and on and on. That is all well and good. We need that stuff. 100%. We need this stuff. But they won't spend a dime on mental health wellness for their officers.
Sure. They won't mandate.
Right.
They won't mandate everybody sitting down with a professional.
Right. But you know what the answer to that is, John? You'll agree when I say this. The answer is, hey, we got EAP. Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah. That's that whole check the box mentality.
Right. Just like some agencies with their peer support units, it's just to check the box. That's all. Yeah. It's one thing also we also teach about. One of the things we teach about also is how to set up a peer support unit, how to run the peer support unit. But one thing also is when peer support's posted, and then we just start our peer support unit. We have 12 openings. You got people that all they're doing is they're padding their resume. And that's wrong. You gotta have
those folks need to be vetted properly and all that.
Do.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of moving parts.
Right. Empathy and compassion goes a long way. It truly, truly does. When I went through my struggles, when I came back to work, some people said to me, very, very blunt, I can't work with you.
Yeah.
You're the guys gonna go shoot up the building. Then, but on the flip side, I had people that were hugging me, saying, "Hey, man, I'm sorry what you went through,"
supportive,
and all that stuff too. But the lack of support I got from my command staff really broke my heart, man. It really did.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, and I know that's a mission for a lot of us is to educate and remove the not only the stigma but the perceived sense of liability.
Right.
That and that we spend a lot of money, time, resources, energy getting us to a certain place in our careers.
Right.
That's a hell of an investment. And if you just wanted to look at it from a monetary standpoint, that's an investment worth hanging on to.
Sure it is.
Right. Not even talking about the human element.
Right.
But and if people haven't noticed, we have a retention problem. And maybe we need to start treating our people better, just saying.
There's a reason why people are leaving.
Yeah, just saying, right?
There's no perfect agency out there. There's no way. But there are agencies that do care about their people, because I've gone to agencies where I'm like, wow, this agency.
And guess what, Mark? They don't have vacancies.
Right. You're right. Yeah. And
they don't have vacancies.
Yep. Right? Yep. But then I've gone to some agencies where they're so far off the wall, it's crazy. But that's okay. And the reason why it's okay, because that's where we come in to help them.
Absolutely. Hey, brother, thank you for taking the time today, man. I just thoroughly enjoyed this.
So did I, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mark DiBona, brother, thanks for your time, man. I'll make sure to put all that information in the show notes so people can get in contact with you and protecting the Guardian. Keep up the great work, brother.
Well, thank you, bro. First of all, I want to give you a shout out. Thank you for reaching out to me. I take that as a compliment. And I will say this: people come into your life for a reason.
Yeah, man. I believe.
Yeah, and people also leave your life for a reason too. So hopefully this isn't it.
No, this is. I think we're around to stay, my friend.
But you, John, follow up and reading what you sent me and the things that you do. Give yourself some credit, also, bro. You do some amazing work, man.
Thanks, man.
And we're on there's no competition. We're on the same sheet of music.
Oh, man. Collaboration and supporting each other. That's how we change the culture.
It's like a band. Somebody plays the drums, somebody plays the guitar, somebody plays
I like the analogy, man. I love it.
Yeah. So,
I'll play the tambourine, bro, because I'm not very skilled.
That's okay. That's okay. Every man knows his limitations.
Oh shit. That's funny. Brother, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. God bless.